Imagine a biological machine so vast that it creates its own weather, a wilderness so immense that it stretches beyond the horizon in every direction, a green ocean that breathes for the planet. This is the Amazon rainforest. Often poeticized as the lung of the earth, it is the single greatest reservoir of life on our pale blue dot. But as we peel back the canopy and look closer, we find that the Amazon is not just a collection of trees. It is a complex, thrumming engine of survival that has operated for millions of years. Today, we journey into the heart of this ecosystem to understand its power, its secrets, and the fragile reality of its existence. To comprehend the Amazon, we must first grapple with its sheer scale. It is not confined by the borders of a single nation. This biological titan spans across 9 different countries in South America. While the lion's share, about 60%, lies within Brazil, its tendrils reach deep into Peru, Colombia, and 6 other nations. In total, this rainforest covers a staggering 40% of the entire South American continent. It is the world's largest tropical rainforest, an immense ecosystem that supports countless species and communities, functioning almost as a continent within a continent. For decades, we have been told that the Amazon is the lung of the earth, implying it provides the oxygen we breathe. However, science offers a more nuanced reality. While the forest does produce oxygen during the day through photosynthesis, it consumes most of that oxygen at night through respiration 6. The lung metaphor, while beautiful, is a myth. The true power of the Amazon lies not in oxygen production, but in carbon storage. It acts as a giant carbon sink and a planetary air filter 7. By scrubbing massive amounts of carbon dioxide, CO2, from the atmosphere, it acts as a global thermostat, actively cooling our planet. The Amazon is not a uniform block of green. It is a stratified vertical city, teeming with life at every elevation. Scientists divide this world into 4 distinct vertical layers, each with its own microclimate and inhabitants. At the very top, braving the elements, is the Emergent Layer. Below that lies the dense green roof known as the canopy. Descending into the shadows, we find the Understory. And finally, resting at the foundation of it all, is the forest floor. To understand the forest, we must explore it floor by floor. Our elevator stops first at the penthouse, the Emergent Layer. Here, the tallest trees punch through the green ceiling, reaching dizzying heights of up to 200 feet. Life here is not for the faint of heart. These giants are exposed to scorching heat, fierce winds, and intense unfiltered sunlight. To survive, the trees have evolved waxy leaves to retain moisture. This is the domain of aerial predators. It is home to majestic eagles, bats, and monkeys that navigate the open sky. The animals here must adapt to extreme weather and open conditions that would wither creatures from the floors below. Descending slightly, we enter the most crowded district of the Amazon, the canopy. This thick roof of vegetation is so dense that it blocks 95% of sunlight from reaching the ground below. The dense branches create a continuous highway of wood and leaves, creating permanent darkness for the world beneath. This is where the action is. The canopy is home to 90% of all rainforest life. It is a bustling layer where toucans, sloths, macaws, and tree frogs thrive, living out their entire lives without ever touching the ground. Below the bustling canopy lies the Understory. This region is dark, humid, and mysterious. Deprived of the sun's energy, the plants here have evolved massive leaves, desperate to capture the tiny slivers of sunlight that filter through the roof above. In this twilight zone, visibility is low and the air is still. It is the perfect hunting ground for ambush predators. Jaguars, red-eyed tree frogs, and boa constrictors lurk in these shadows, hunting insects and prey that navigate the gloom. Finally, we reach the basement, the forest floor. It is a place of perpetual night where almost no sunlight reaches. You might expect rich, deep soil, but the reality is surprisingly different. The soil here is nutrient poor due to rapid decomposition. Paradoxically, this layer offers surprisingly open walking space, as few plants can grow in the deep shade. This is the domain of the scavengers. Giant anteaters, tapirs, and leafcutter ants patrol this level. These ground dwellers scavenge and break down organic matter incredibly quickly, recycling nutrients back into the massive trees almost instantly. Cutting through this vertical city is a horizontal artery of immense power, the Amazon River. It is the second longest river in the world, a moving body of water so vast it defies description. This single river holds 20% of Earth's flowing fresh water. To give you a sense of its wildness, consider this. There are no bridges that cross its entire length. It is the lifeline of the forest, nourishing ecosystems, transporting nutrients, and connecting isolated communities throughout the continent. The result of this complex geography is unmatched biodiversity. The Amazon is the greatest biological library on Earth, housing 10% of the world's known species. The numbers are hard to fathom. 40,000 plant species and 3,000 distinct fish species call this place home. And the library is far from cataloged. Scientists discover new species here almost daily, proving that we have only scratched the surface of what lives in this green wilderness. But the Amazon's value extends far beyond its biological catalog. It is a machine that regulates our global climate. The billions of trees here act as sponges, absorbing CO2 and releasing oxygen-38. By locking this carbon away in their trunks and roots, the stored carbon cools the planet 39. However, this system is fragile. When the forest burns, the process reverses. Burning releases that stored carbon back into the atmosphere, accelerating the heating of the Earth. Perhaps the most magical function of the Amazon is its ability to create its own weather. The Amazon makes its own rain. Through a process called transpiration, the trees release massive amounts of water vapor into the atmosphere. This moisture forms what scientists call flying rivers, massive airborne currents of water vapor that travel across South America. These flying rivers are essential, bringing rain to agricultural heartlands thousands of miles away. Hidden within the chemistry of these plants are secrets that save lives. Already, 25% of all Western medicines come from rainforest plants. We owe treatments like quinine for malaria, curare for muscle relaxation, and vincristine for cancer treatment to this forest. Yet, we are destroying this pharmacy before we have even read the labels. Less than 1% of these plants have been fully tested by scientists. Countless cures and medicines remain hidden in the foliage, waiting to be discovered. Survival in such a competitive environment requires amazing adaptations. Take the sloth. It moves incredibly slowly, not just because it is lazy, but to save energy and avoid detection by predatory eagles hunting from above. Or the toucan, whose comically large beak allows it to reach fruit on weak branches that other birds cannot access. On the forest floor, poison dart frogs have turned their skin into a warning sign. Their vibrant colors signal their toxicity to any potential predators. Humans have been part of this ecosystem for a very long time. There is a history of 11,000 years of human habitation here. Today, over 400 distinct tribes exist within the Amazon, some of whom remain completely uncontacted by the modern world. These indigenous peoples possess a deep knowledge of medicinal plants and ecological balance. They practice sustainable living, and hold invaluable ecological wisdom that modern science is only just beginning to understand. But this ancient balance is under siege. The threat is immediate and terrifying. We are losing the Amazon at a rate of 3 football fields per minute. The primary driver of this destruction is our appetite for beef. Cattle ranching causes 80% of deforestation. Industrial soy farming, logging, and mining are also carving away the forest, destroying in decades what nature took millions of years to build. The mechanism of this destruction is often a desperate cycle known as slash and burn. Farmers cut down and burn trees to clear Space 60. The resulting ash fertilizes the soil, but only for a few years, 61, while this clearing releases massive $O2 and creates thick smoke, 626. It provides temporary nutrients that allow short-term farming productivity, 36363, but the soil is poor. Soon, the soil is exhausted, and the farmers must move on, 64. The cycle repeats, cutting more forest and worsening climate change, 65. Scientists warn that we are approaching a point of no return. They fear a tipping point. Models suggest that if 20 to 25% of the Amazon is destroyed, the entire ecosystem could collapse and turn into a dry savanna. If this happens, the flying rivers will stop flowing. The forest will lose its ability to sustain itself or regulate the regional climate, creating a catastrophe that will be felt across the globe. Why does a forest in South America matter to the rest of the world? Because the Amazon matters globally. It stabilizes the global climate and prevents extreme warming. It acts as a vault for future food and medicine. It preserves genetic diversity that creates resilience for life on Earth. The health of the Amazon is directly linked to the stability of our own weather systems, regardless of where we live. As we conclude our journey, we are left with 2 key takeaways. First, the Amazon is a complex system of layers, water, and life that is critical for Earth's carbon and water cycles. Second, human activity threatens its survival, and by extension, our own. Protecting the Amazon rainforest is not just about saving trees. It is essential for all human survival. The lungs of the earth are laboring. Whether they continue to breathe depends entirely on us.